week's episode of One Piece, the big badasses from Kurita Coliseum meet up with Luffy and Zoro as they begin their epic quest to kick Doflamingo's ass. Stay tuned, at the very end of this video will be a quick fire review of the Rolling Girls episodes 9 and 10. So this week's episode of One Piece was incredibly simple. Basically, it was just reintroducing all of the fighters from Kurita Coliseum who are joining up with Luffy and getting into a big argument about who is going to beat up Doflamingo. And honestly, I think it's stretched out a little too far. This is probably the first episode of the anime where I've been conscious of how slow it's going in comparison to the manga version. And that is because I did start reading it a couple of months ago, but still, despite that, this episode did have some exciting moments going for it. First, I do want to comment that I am really glad to see these side characters again. These are the type of characters they could have just killed off and been done with them, but no, they're coming back, they're going to be helping out Luffy and Zoro, and it's going to be really exciting. I especially love the designs of all of them, and Elizabello and Don Chinchou definitely delivered the most badass scene from this week's episode, when they were running all together and Pika was getting ready to destroy them with his massive rock fist. Both Elizabello and Don Chinchou used their signature abilities to destroy not only his hand, but his entire arm, in a very flashy and massive explosion of a scene. What I really love about it is Elizabello didn't even use his full power yet, and it just gets me more pumped up to see what some of these guys are going to do in battle. But pretty much, that's the whole episode right there. It's pretty much just everybody just sort of meeting up, arguing over who's going to beat up Doflamingo, and that's it. There's a few extended scenes with Cavendish, which are sort of hit or miss depending on what you like, but honestly, my favorite scene this week definitely was that big scene at the end when they destroyed Pika's arm. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? It was okay. It's one of those episodes that's basically just like a big build-up one, and I think it did its purpose. I wish they could have shown a little bit more, but we are getting dangerously close to where they are in the manga right now. But I am glad to see that they are still putting a little bit of love and TLC into some of the action scenes, like that one at the very end with Elizabello and Don Chinchou. I thought that was handled really well. I also still think that Pika's voice is absolutely hilarious. I know it's something that they play out quite a bit, but I think it's really funny, especially when he's sulking in this week's episode before he goes onto the attack. But really, this was just an okay average episode of One Piece. The animation, the artwork, it was all just okay. But if you are a fan of the One Piece anime series or manga series, check this one out. It's got some awesome moments and some really funny characters in it. But really, that's just about it. Just a cool average episode of One Piece. So I'm giving this week's episode a 3 out of 5. Check it out, guys. Pretty good episode. Okay, let's get real. Here's my review of the Rolling Girls, episodes 9 and 10. I'm not really digging this show that much anymore. I will say that it's absolutely stunning. The artwork, the animation looks really good. The thing is, I just don't care about any of the characters in this show, mostly because the Rolling Girls themselves are never like the stars of their own story. They always seem like they're constantly in the background, and we're always getting these new characters thrown in our faces, and I can barely keep up with who they are, who they're affiliated with, what their names are, and then they throw in this whole other weird thing where one of the Rolling Girls, Chiaya, is actually a freaking alien octopus. This has been hinted at earlier in some of the episodes, and it comes to full fruition in these couple of episodes. We even get some flashbacks to where she was sent down to Earth and stuff. It's really weird and very confusing, and it all involves this weird alien invasion and this weird, like, moon plan where the moons are going to collide with each other. It's very strange, but it's a really pretty series. The production value on this one is really good. I love the backgrounds of this show. They are absolutely gorgeous. I like the character designs quite a bit. And what I loved most about these two episodes is a scene in episode 10. You know what I'm talking about. It's an action scene. It involved the character of Kaguya, and it even had some of that cheesy anime symbolism. Kaguya using a freaking bamboo weapon. But it was awesome. It's definitely one of the best scenes I've seen in quite some time. And it even seems like Matcha Green and even Shigeo are going to be joining in on the story. But still, a lot of things are still getting kept vague, like about the true mystery of these weird heart-shaped stones, why they're so important, how it's all going to be involved with these octopus pots and these freaking octopus aliens. It's just weird. It's just not doing a lot for me. But, like I said, it's still a very nice show to look at, and you might like the story and you might like the characters, so I still highly recommend that you check it out. But for the 2 episodes here, I'm going to give both of them a 3 out of 5. It just didn't blow me away, but the production value was really good on both of them. Oh, and I really hate the thing in episode 9. I'm sorry I have to go back into Hatesville right now, but there's this one story element that I just cannot stand, and that's when members of a group start fighting with each other and then they get separated only to inevitably become friends again. Like, it's such a waste of time. We all know how that story arc is going to end, and that's really the biggest negative I have about this whole, you know, 2-parter right here, which is now extending into a freaking 3-parter, so they're really taking their time with this story. So, there it is. Really, really pretty show, but it's really not the one for me. But like I said, check it out anyway. You might see something you really like. 3 out of 5 for me. There it is. Thank you guys for watching my reviews. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And before you leave, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of One Piece and The Rolling Girls. Did you have any favorite scenes from either of the episodes? And what do you hope to see from either of those respective series? Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you guys again for watching, and stay dandy, baby.